This video is an addendum to the previous video in which we showed the calendar component where we're displaying the orders from the Northwinds database on the calendar. And as you recall, in the previous video, when we clicked on an item, we just simply opened up an alert that says edit order number and then the ID of the order. But you can see here in this video, when I click on an item right now, we actually open up a dialog component that shows the order details for that order. So there's order number 10248, for example, and if I were to go there and click, say, on order number 10251, we're going to open up a dialog now that shows the details for that order. So what we're going to do in this video is show how we actually accomplished that. So the first thing that you'll do, that you'll notice, that we've added two additional controls onto this dialog. These controls are currently shown, but you would probably choose to hide the two controls. And so if we go back here and look in design mode, we can see there's the order ID, which we've set as a numeric control, and then next to that we have a button. And when we click this button, we use action JavaScript, we're choosing the open a dialog component action. And here we've specified that our target dialog is called Northwinds Orders Dialog. And then we've checked this option here to populate the dialog with data from a table. We've said that the primary key that should be looked up is going to be read from a control on the current component. And then we've pointed to the order ID field, which is that field over there. So every time we click the button, we're going to be opening up Northwind orders and then populating the dialog with the order ID that we read out of that field over there. So and then the other thing to note is that the ID of this button is button underbar 1. So now let's go back to the JavaScript and look at the JavaScript function that gets called when we click on an item in the calendar. So you can see here that when we click on an item in the calendar, we're calling the edit event JavaScript function. And previously we were just displaying an alert. But now what we're doing is we're setting the value of that order ID field with the ID that the user chose to edit. So we're actually writing a value into that field. And then we're getting a pointer to that button object. So you recall earlier we looked at the button and saw that its ID was button underbar 1. So the naming convention that we use for IDs is the dialog component alias and then .v.r1 and then the ID. So $ all the way from there to there gets us a pointer to the button object, and then we just basically call that object's click method to click it as if the user had clicked it himself. So we're just programmatically clicking the button. So now when the user goes to the calendar and then clicks on an item over here, watch how the ID is going to get filled in and then the dialog is going to get called. So what you see is that the ID is filled in and now the dialog is displaying the details for that particular order. Thanks very much.